Hello, and welcome to our series on why breakfast after the bell and how to get buy-in. My name is Warren Ryan. I'm the Assistant Director of Nutrition Services for San Bernardino City Unified School District. So as we get started, I just want to walk you through not just who I am and what district I represent, but the amount of schools and students that we represent. So we have 74 schools with just under 46,000 students enrolled, serving approximately 50,000 meals per day. We offer breakfast, lunch, and supper at all campuses. We're 100% CEP, so every student gets to eat each and every meal for free. We have a central kitchen to be able to do lots of scratch cooking, and we have approximately 450 employees supporting the cause to support these students. So when we look at breakfast after the bell, there's a number of methods that we want to be able to adventure through and explore. So one method that we found effective is breakfast in the classroom. So breakfast in the classroom is where you're able to serve your students in a classroom setting after the first bell rings. So currently with San Bernardino City Unified, we have 6 elementary school sites that are offering breakfast after the bell as breakfast in the classroom. And so to show you the importance is before offering breakfast in the classroom, we were serving approximately 923 meals. Whereas after launching and implementing breakfast in the classroom, we were able to progress to just over 2,200 meals. That's more than a 239% increase. The other method that we found effective for breakfast after the bell is second chance breakfast. So for San Bernardino, we do a second chance breakfast currently at 2 of our high schools in the passing period between first and second period. So we have tremendous principal support, but that allows us 4 to 6 minutes to serve as many students as possible. And so on average, with those 2 schools, we saw an increase of 200 breakfasts per day, which depending on the school site ranged from 25 to 100% increase. These students would have otherwise not been able to eat had they not taken the opportunity of this because they weren't there previously. So as we talked about the methods that I use, I want to talk about why. So why breakfast after the bell? So the first thing is we want to talk about that we want to ensure equitable access to a nutritious breakfast for all students. As we look at students, we understand as a school food provider that students don't depict what time they show up. They don't depict anything that happened before they're being dropped off at the school, whether the bus is running late or something hectic is going on at home. And so we want to make sure that we're taking out any obstacle of any student not being able to eat. It also reduces absenteeism as students look forward to being able to eat each and every single day. Studies show that we have improved academic performance. And so that's measured by test scores, just being able to be focused. As you know, even with adults, whenever we're hungry, we can't focus as much. One thing that students don't know is they can't tell the difference between a stomach ache and hunger pains. So it also reduces the number of trips to the school nurse, allowing more classroom instruction time. It also helps students where they're not forced to pick between their friends and playing in the morning or eating. I know I have kids of my own and I constantly have to look at them and I have to remind them that eating is an important part of your day, that you need that fuel and you need good nutrition to be able to focus, to be able to perform better in school and really put together all of your cognitive thinking abilities. And the last thing that really pushes for me is that it eliminates the stigma associated with school meals. For years, school food professionals have been battling with that negative stigma around free school meals. When you move this after the bell and you move this in the classroom and these students are sitting around with all of their peers and everyone has the same opportunity, it's no longer whether or not you got a free meal or I got a free meal, but we're all eating collectively and we're all eating as a family. And so that in turn helps those students get the nutrition that they need to be able to focus and learn. Okay, so when we look at beginning any method for breakfast after the bell, whether it's breakfast in the classroom or second chance breakfast in between classing periods, or if you have a brunch break, We want to talk about sharing the importance of breakfast, what it means to you, how breakfast can make that difference in your school site. So if you have a lower starting participation, then you know that you need these methods to continue to expand. If you already have a high participation, then you can look to see which one's best for you. You want to look for important partners who are going to find the same values in breakfast. And then start with one site, small or large. Any impact that you can make in benefiting the students is beneficial. When we look at our sites that we've done at San Bernardino City for Second Chance Breakfast, is you can see that there's a big difference in the number of meals. So while one high school is only experiencing a smaller gain, we don't want to discount or discredit that benefit to those students. The next thing is you want to be persistent, but when you are persistent is we want to remain respectful. Sometimes you have to bring in outside people to be able to share that importance, possibly highlight those districts around you that are doing something remarkable within the breakfast program, and then always remain flexible. There are a lot of rules and regulations that are tied to school breakfast program, but there's also some flexibilities that we can have. And so we have to pick what it is that is really important that we have to hold a hard, fast rule to, and what we can be able to incorporate into our receiving site. And so after we think about all the things that we can do, then we can start anticipating challenges. And so these are some things that I came across just in launching any program. So I have a school site custodian that said, what about ants? And so when we talk about anticipating the challenge is then we look at how we can partner to help them. So when we got the conversation about ants or any possible pests, we said, well, how can we help that? So here at San Bernardino, we provide sanitizing wipes. That way, then we know that the kids can then learn to clean up after themselves, and it can decrease the chance of having anything extra into the classroom. When proposing breakfast in the classroom, we had a site administrator who said, we just got new carpet. I can't risk the carpet. And so then that's where we talk about how can we partner? How can we provide education to be able to keep these students centered around that they need the nutrition, but offering different items to be able to handle that. So one of the concepts around new carpet is we talk about reducing anything on the menu that would contain very messy items. So cereal is not provided in the classroom. And then from the teachers is we don't want the mess in the classroom. So when we look at that as we continue to offer solutions. And so one solution is we've partnered with No Kid Hungry, who was able to help fund different options. And so one of those things that we did is we found grant funding to help support little small vacuums, although a small solution on our end, but it made a huge impact in terms of teachers, administrators, and custodians. And so with any challenge, whatever someone is going to bring to your table is I encourage you to offer workable solutions that we can do together. And so as we offer workable solutions is you have to remember that this is a partnership. We as school food service professionals, we value this importance. And I can guarantee you that every teacher and every administrator values the importance of a meal. But we have to work together, we have to plan together, and we have to include all of our partners in every capacity in the adventure. And I call it an adventure because launching a new program is like a roller coaster. You're going to have your ups and downs, and you're going to have those moments where you celebrate at the end and you say, hey, let's do it again. But then you're going to have those moments where you're just not sure what to expect next. And then with that partnership is be flexible with the service model. Every time that we went for the model that we had in mind, we always had a few backup service models in mind. And so we may want to do something a very specific way because that's what's comfortable and we've tried it and it's ready. But not everyone sees it the same way. So I encourage that when you're meeting with your site administrators, with your teachers, with your custodial, even your own cafeteria staff, is to make sure that you're flexible with what that could look like. Because when you have buy-in and you have support from every avenue and every work group, then you're going to have more that will push the program forward. Next is to be receptive to feedback. Don't discount any feedback that they have. And when you're getting through the feedback, make sure that you're addressing it. As we look to address feedback, we want to validate any concerns that we have. So if it's about messes, then let's talk about how we can say, thank you, we understand, here's what we are doing, or here's what we've done, or here's what our partnering districts have done. And then be open to trying something new or different. For many of you, and for many of us, this is a new experience, something that we haven't launched before. And so when you're doing something new, it's okay to say, you know, this method didn't work. Let's reevaluate. Let's try it for a few days. While continuing to forge ahead. And then always focus on the end goal. And by the end goal is, for me, the goal is to feed as many students as possible so that they can have all of the nutrition needed to be the best scholar possible. And lastly, celebrate accomplishments, large or small. A thank you goes a long ways. And so here's a few ways that we've identified being able to celebrate. So the photo on the left is our school board honoring the pioneers of breakfast in the classroom for our district. So they gave out awards and certificates, and they celebrated them in the public to talk about the achievements and the advancements that they made for their teams. And then on the right, a small token is, as a nutrition services department, we had little awards for our pioneering sites who did the unthinkable and were able to go and expand in ways and be the first. And so we made just a little something that can honor them and their team for pioneering breakfast in the classroom. And so when we did that, they're able to display it on their cafeteria serving line. They're able to make it known. They can show it with their peers that we celebrated them and that we know the hard work that went into it. And that's why it's important. And so as we do all of these things and we look at breakfast after the bell, we want to make sure that we remember the end goal in mind. And the end goal and why breakfast in the classroom and breakfast after the bell and second chance breakfast is all important, is that we want to provide a nutritious, equitable access to meals for all students. And by doing so, we want to give them different methods to be able to eat, because one method doesn't work for everyone. School nutrition is not something that you can put into a box. It needs an open space to be able to thrive and grow. So, thank you. And so stick around for day 2, where we'll be talking about breakfast after the bell and menus.